All right, look. I want to talk about impeachment. Let's talk about impeachment. Number one, Nadler is a slip and fall lawyer. I'd be shocked if he actually has a legal license. They're going to go into court, this committee, and sue for the grand jury testimony and other grand jury information, that was collected by Mr. Mueller during the course of his investigation. Anybody know what the problem with that is? A committee of Congress can't sue. A committee of Congress is not the House of Representatives. There's been no vote by the House of Representatives. I don't know. Has anybody else mentioned this, Mr. Producer? I've been busy all day doing other stuff. Research. So Nadler is trying to conduct now an impeachment investigation through the Judiciary Committee without the full House of Representatives authorizing him to do so, number one. And number two, going to court on his own as the committee chairman to get information. It is Nadler who's a rogue public official. It is Nadler who's undermining the Constitution. So this is outrageous. That's number one. That's number one. Number two, we just saw a debacle with Robert Mueller, a complete debacle. But Nadler looks like a clown. He looks like a buffoon. So what does he do? He says, look at all the great information we got from Mueller. Mueller, who was quite feeble. Mueller, who barely knew where he was. Hadn't read his report, let alone written it. And so now they say, well, now we have real information, so we're going to conduct sort of a preliminary impeachment investigation. Guess what? You don't get to conduct a preliminary impeachment investigation. Absolute lawlessness here. And I think what the Democrats are doing is so politically damaging to themselves, they can't even figure it out. They can't even figure it out. Now, because I can assure you, Gerald Nadler is not. Gerald Nadler would have done very, very well as a commissar in the Soviet Union. He would have done very, very well as a judge in the Soviet Union, as a political apparatchik in the Soviet Union. Gerald Nadler is a red. You know what I mean by that? He is a red. He's doing more to damage this country, our Constitution, our national security, domestic policy, by spending every waking hour of his pathetic life trying to burden, obstruct, undermine, and destroy this president. He's obsessed. They talk about unhinged and mentally ill. Well, that would be Gerald Nadler. He needs some help. But what, from Pelosi? She's no better. So let's take it. We're setting the foundation to prove that the Democrats in the House, and that Mr. Nadler in particular, are rogue public officials who are violating the Constitution, who are violating the impeachment clause and the purpose of impeachment as they wave around the Constitution and walk towards impeachment. You cannot just impeach somebody for political purposes. That language has meaning. Any committee chairman in a committee cannot go to court and make claims for grand jury information because they possibly might pursue impeachment. A single committee doesn't get to make that decision. You want to know why, ladies and gentlemen? Because it's the full House of Representatives that are supposed to represent the people, and the Congress on the whole that's supposed to represent the people, not the clowns and miscreants and malcontents who make up the majority on the House Judiciary Committee. I'm going to tell you this. We need to take on these bastards. We need to take them on politically. We need to engage them. on a constitutional basis, on a factual basis, on every basis whatsoever. They have declared war today. Mr. Nadler has declared war on the American people. Mr. Nadler has declared war on the office of the presidency and the President of the United States. Mr. Nadler is hell-bent on reversing the election results in 2016 and disenfranchising nearly 63 million of you. Mr. Nadler is a throwback. He's a reprobate from one district, one congressional district out of 435 congressional districts. A dark blue district filled with reds. He doesn't get to run this country. I've had enough of this guy. I've had enough of his efforts to cripple this president and his agenda. And make no mistake about it. That's what this is about. They wanted their third term for Obama. They have never accepted this election. They don't accept a peaceful transition of power. Now it is up to us, we the American people, who believe in real elections, who believe in the Constitution, who believe in the rule of law, who believe in due process. It is up to we, the American people, to confront Nadler and to confront these Democrats who have temporary power in the House of Representatives, who are drunk on their power. Not only have they failed to do their public duty under the Constitution, have they failed to secure the border, have they failed to support the military, but they are literally trying to eviscerate the executive branch because they do not like the man who runs it. Well, we put that man in power. This is a direct attack on you and me and our vote. Mr. Nadler, you coward, you pompous ass, I've asked you to come on this program and on every other program I have, and you hide. You hide, you miscreant. Show yourself. I'll be right back. Just to show you what a demagogue and rogue hack Jerry Nadler is, and we're going to spend a lot of time over the course of the next many months focused on this man. And we'll continue to request that he show up on this show. I want you to hear what he said today in an outright lie. He's very lucky that he's not under investigation, that he's not put under oath, because he'd be serving a life sentence for false statements and perjury. Here's Jerry Nadler. Cut 3, go.
He would have indicted President Trump.
Now, Mr. Nadler knows that this is a lie. He should be banned from every news show, but he won't be. Mr. Nadler knows that he's a liar, but he also knows that his base collectively is an IQ of -7. And so they'll chew this stuff up. This is what demagogues do. Now, let's listen to cut 4, Mr. Mueller at the hearing on Wednesday. We all heard it, about the Office of Legal Counsel, those opinions which were brought to the public by me. I'm the one who found them. I'm the one who brought them out on this program and on Fox. Now let's listen to what Mueller said in exchange with another reprobate, Representative Ted Lieu. Cut 4, go.
I'd like to ask you, the reason again that you did not indict Donald Trump is because of OLC opinion stating that you cannot indict a sitting president, correct?
That is correct.
Now, 2 things happened there. Lieu could see. He could see what we all could see, that Mr. Mueller was feeble. I'm just telling you the truth. And he put words in his mouth. And Mr. Mueller confirmed the words that Mr. Lieu put in his mouth. Then they took a break. And at the beginning of the second hearing, Mr. Mueller corrected himself. He corrected himself. This is a matter of public record. It was on television for millions to see. It was on radio for millions to hear. Yet Jerry Nadler lies about what took place. This is Mueller correcting the record. Cut 5, go.
Now, before we go to questions, I want to add one correction to my testimony this morning. I want to go back to one thing that was said this morning by Mr. Lieu, who said, and I quote, "You didn't charge the president because of the OLC opinion." That is not the correct way to say it. As we say in the report, and as I said at the opening, we did not reach a determination as to whether the president committed a crime.
So in a matter so important as this, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee lies through his teeth. Now, Ted Lieu, yesterday, hearing Mr. Mueller's correction, basically Mueller calling out Ted Lieu. No, he's got it wrong, Ted Lieu. We didn't make that determination. Ted Lieu goes on his favorite so-called news platform, CNN, the Constipated News Network. And Wolf Blitzer, another fraud. This is how that exchange goes. It's unbelievable. Cut 6, go. Stop right there. So in other words, Mr. Lieu is calling Mr. Mueller a liar. Now, Wolf Blitzer says, doesn't Mueller's correction, which he later provided, prove otherwise? Go ahead, Rich.
He later provided prove otherwise.
To walk it back.
Because he was feeble. And because after it was brought to his attention that his comments don't encumber the representation that was made in the report on multiple occasions, he corrected the record. Now, Mr. Lieu sees a conspiracy that somebody pressured Mueller. They go on all day about the fact that this man was a combat hero, a Marine in Vietnam, with a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart. And now Mr. Lieu says somebody got to him. Now, these are the clowns who are pushing impeachment. These are the buffoons who are pushing impeachment.